Hello, welcome to this video lecture on New Technology Programming 4, which is NTP 401T, and I'll be presenting to you Learning Unit 6, which is Introduction to Astra. Don't worry, it's not the Astra that you might be thinking of. My name is Nzako Baloi, and it's my pleasure to be taking you through this lecture. Okay, what we hope to achieve through this lecture is to help you come to terms with AgentSpeak as well as Astra and differentiate between them. Be able to discuss AgentSpeak as a language upon which Astra is built, develop AgentSpeak agents as well as develop Astra software agents. Okay. I'll keep the discussion on this particular topic at a very high level, but I'll provide supplementary material by way of reference at the end, and I think that will help you more to be familiar with the concepts. By way of introduction, AgentSpeak is an agent programming language like Jade. Okay, it is based on the belief, desire, intention theory. We'll call it BDI going forward. So when you think of beliefs, it is basically the current state of the world. I mean, this is quite typical in AI, where you need to, for instance, say what the current state of the world is. And the desires are what you would want this current state to move to. So it is the ideal future state. The intentions are a subset of desires one is committed to achieving. All right. So with that, you basically have at a high level the theory behind AgentSpeak, which is BDI, your beliefs, desires, as well as intentions. Now there are constraints that limit intentions, e.g., you could have resource constraints, and in real life, I mean really, you might want to own a private jet, but resources are not allowing you. Or you could, for instance, not have the money to buy the private jet or afford that private jet, but you cannot afford to have it parked somewhere because you have to pay for that space as well, etc. Or you can't afford a pilot because you can't drive it. I mean, there can be various types of limitations to your intentions. So one therefore needs to be realistic in implementing the BDI, in that you want to look at those set of intentions that are achievable. You also have a plan, which is basically a course of action to be able to achieve your intentions. So that effectively activates your intentions and makes them into fulfilled desires. Doesn't sound like I'm talking about programming, does it? Anyway, there's also a refined model to the BDI, where you have got desires viewed as goals, and the intention takes the form of a state. And a state there is just an intention to achieve. Or it could be just a plan, which is an intention to do something. Okay, so there's slight differences between the refined model and the original model of your belief, desire, and intentions theory. Okay, so we'll be looking at the following programming constructs: your beliefs, which are facts about the state of an environment. That is the state of an object. You've got goals, all right, which will be indicated by that particular sign, which is basically a formula to determine what to do. Or you can also think of it as method calls. You've got events that basically are agent behavior drivers, and you've got plan rules that map behaviors to the events that trigger them. So these are like your methods. All right, so let's just have a quick look at this example. You'll remember this sign on goals. So what is the goal here? So the goal is this init, and in there you want to print the hello world. Okay, now to be able to do that, you can either do it that way or you can do it using sub goals. How do you then do it? For your main init, you can then say, I want to call print hello. But what does print hello do? It just prints hello world. All right, that is the basic syntax of your AgentSpeak communication. And it's important for you to understand some of these concepts, and I won't go into all of that. You've already seen this particular symbol, and you'll notice that at the end of every particular line, you have a dot to indicate the end of a particular statement or procedure, whatever the case may be. The same thing you'll have noticed here. Okay. With that said, we'll look at another example. With this example, you start there, and it's still the same, but here you are instantiating the current world. What is the current world looking like? At the moment, RAM is happy, and you enter that with a dot to say it's the end of the sentence. So that is the current state. You are instantiating the state of the current world. All right. And having done that, you want to then print something. Okay, so you start with this method where you say print line starting. So you just print starting. And if, so that is your if sign, you know that is quite the typical way of using it. So if RAM is happy, you want to print the first hurdle has been passed. If RAM is sad, you want to print ending. Okay, it's as simple as that. All right, sure. So that is just a high-level program on using AgentSpeak. And I mean, you'll get even further explanations, even on the symbols and the signs that I'm not talking to right now here. You'll get that on the link that I provide to you because of the limited time. This particular one, we want to be able to change the state. So we're using a light here. I want to turn lights on and off. The current instantiation, so the light is on. And with the light on, you want to print the light is on and turn it off. That's what you want to say. But after saying it, you want to then do the state changes. We already know that the light is currently on. The action we want to perform is to turn the light off, and that is exactly what we did there. The other method there would be where you have the light being off, and you just tell us the state of the light, that the light is off, turn it on. Now, we know the current state is that the light is off. All we do is turn it on, and then we end right there. It's as simple as that. But just that's those small nuances that you'll need to compare within the different pieces of code to understand how this works. Now, as we get to Astra, it is based on AgentSpeak, and it's just a minor improvement of AgentSpeak, but it is also an agent programming language. It's a bit more closer to Java. If you think of AgentSpeak, I mean, you had a string not even big in quotations, although you started seeing semicolons here and there. But with Astra, you'll start to notice that strings start to appear in double quotations, as we know it to happen in Java. Okay, so both AgentSpeak and Astra are Java-based. Now, let's just look at an example of a program. So here on the left, we have the Astra program, and on the right, we have the equivalent AgentSpeak program. Remember, this program was the first one that we looked at, where you wanted to print hello world. And here, you start by you'll have your hello agent called hello, and then you instantiate a console on which you'll then be able to print that particular message. And then you have got your initialize your method, and then here is where the rule goes. And then you say console, because you want to print the message to console, dot print line, hello world. You see start to send those double quotation marks. And this start to look more like Java. It's not exactly like Java, but it's much more closer. You have got your opening parentheses and so forth, or your opening braces, which helps to, in a way, demarcate the program and also show you that it's much closer to how you do things in Java. Looking at the next one, where we had the sub goals, basically, or in the AgentSpeak environment, we can represent the same here, where you still initialize your instantiate your console, and then you still have initial .init like you had in the previous case, and then here you just want to call a function. But what does that function actually do? This is where the function is actually, that's just a function call, and this is the function definition here, where you say you just want to play for that console, C. Remember that says that for that console instantiation, so say.println hello world. This is much better when you start comparing it with AgentSpeak, that is a bit closer to Java, like I said. Okay, we had the RAM story, where RAM is happy. You can do the same with Astra, where here, the first thing that you do is we know that RAM is happy is basically string and string. You're comparing two strings, and therefore we define that here. Okay, of course, you have instantiated your console, and then you come here, and then you want to initialize the state that RAM is happy. The same way you instantiated the current state of the world, and you have initialized that here to define the current state of the world. Now, when you get to the main function, you then start printing to the console starting, and then you check. It's a query. Is RAM happy? Okay. If RAM is happy, you want to say first hello past, and then you do another query. Is RAM sad? If RAM is sad, you then print ending, and that's as simple as that. That should be quite simple, right? Okay. The change state, like we did with AgentSpeak, one can do the same here. Okay, but now because we had instantiated light to on there, here it's the same thing. It's light on there is basically a string. Okay, so we just want to define how that looks like, and then we instantiate it there. We define the state of the world right there. Okay, having done that, we now want to do this, the equivalent of this, but doing it here, where the light is on, and you want to print the light is on, turn it off. And then we know that the current state is light on, and you change it to light off. The same thing for when the light is off, you want to print the light is off, turn it on. We know the current state is the light is off, but we want to change it to, we then change it that to light on. As simple as that. Okay, that was very simplistic. It will be better explained, like I said, in the reference that I will introduce to you now shortly. But I just wanted to, at a high level, introduce you to AgentSpeak and Astra and demonstrate through code, basic code or simple code, how to use AgentSpeak and Astra, and just to provide a comparison of the two. And I hope you'll go and spend some time on this. It's not difficult. You are most likely to at least get a problem worth about at least 10 marks in the exam that will deal with either of these or both even. So please do take this seriously. It may not be Jade, but it's important for you to understand that there's something beyond Jade. Okay? Having said that, there's an exercise I'd like you to look at, and this will just get you practicing from what you have just done. And if you have difficulty, please just go to the reference site that I will give you just now. Now we can pause and attempt this just to see how well you fare. And after having done that, you can continue the video to go to the proposed solution. That's the solution. Okay. And that is the link you require for you to understand more about Astra and AgentSpeak. And I mean, there's just so many details in that particular resource link. And I'll advise you to please spend some time in there. And it's better explained than I could explain in a less than 15 minutes video. Okay. Having said that, it's been a pleasure taking you through this material. I want to thank you for taking time to go through this material. Please don't just rely on the videos, they're not sufficient. Rely also on the prescribed material. Till we meet again, goodbye.